Good morning, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well. This is my first TED Talks little feature where we just talk about some motor trade goings on. So not specifically related to a car or a car that we've got in stock or anything like that, but what is going on in the motor trade in the wider world. Well, you might have seen a couple of other videos on this, but some big news in terms of remarketing and auctions at the start of this week. Aston Barclay, who have 5 sites across England, have been having a little bit of a tough time over the last few months and last 12 months, 18 months, and they have been taken over by BCA, British Car Auctions, as of Monday. There were rumours swirling around last week, but it was concluded on Monday morning, or that's when the staff found out anyway, that BCA are going to be the new owners of Aston Barclay. So that's another 5 sites for BCA, which I'll get into shortly. Firstly, it's a real shame that Aston Barclay have had to do this. We buy bits and bobs from Aston Barclay. We haven't got massively local, so Westbury is our local Aston Barclay, which is an hour and 35, hour and 40 minutes away. So we haven't got one very local. Prees Heath is a good 2 hours 20, and then Wakefield's even further, and Chelmsford's even further. So quite some distances. So we buy bits and bobs. A lot of their cars are ex-lease and ex-company cars, ex-Motability cars. So not huge amounts we've purchased, but it's still going to be a real shame to see another group disappear and to be taken over by BCA. And I think that is it could be a problem. BCA already by far the biggest remarketer in Europe and certainly in the UK. So for them to be taking on another 5 sites, and also the car buying site that Aston Barclay had as well, which was the car buying group, I guess those sites will become We Buy Any Cars, I would imagine. For if you don't know, BCA own We Buy Any Car, and they also own Cinch as well. So they've already got a circle of business. So you, as the general public, sell your car to We Buy Any Car. They keep the stuff that they want to keep, and that then goes onto the Cinch platform to be retailed back to the general public, or they put their cars into the British Car Auction network, and dealers like myself then have to go and try and buy them. So for them to have another 5 auction sites, and to then also have another however many car buying sites, it's becoming a bit of a monopoly, and it's worrying because BCA fees are extremely high. They have thousands and thousands and thousands of cars, all of which they sell online. So they don't have the physical auction presence like Aston Barclay did, and like the other auction houses that I buy from do. So it's going to be very interesting to see. Now, I'm glad that Aston Barclay has been saved, because it's good to keep auction houses open. I think that's important. Whether BCA decide to do physical auctions at these Aston Barclay sites remains to be seen, but it's a bit concerning. Like I say, we don't buy from BCA. We haven't got I think we have got a BCA account potentially, but I haven't bought a car from BCA for many years, 8 years maybe, something like that. And it's worrying that they're going to be taking over another corner of the market, another 5 sites, which will give them another X many thousand cars. And, then of course you're left with, so really in terms of the big auction centres, obviously BCA are massive anyway, and they're just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You've got Mannheim, which is where I buy our cars from auction if we need to. We don't buy huge amounts from auction, but that is the auction company that I use for my buying. So they're the second biggest. Then you've got G3, Wilson's are independent, and G3, and then obviously you've got a few other smaller smaller independents with a few branches, and so it's becoming very, very limited in the companies that you can buy cars from, and that's not good for the market, and that's not good for us as dealers, certainly. Obviously it won't affect the general public, you guys, so much, because if you do want to sell your car to We Buy Any Car, then you can, it's entirely up to you. But in terms of how it will work for the dealers, it's going to, personally, I think it's going to make life trickier again. That's not me having a moan, it's just factually true. So yes, a little update. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it, really. If you are in the trade and you've heard this news, get in the comments and let me know what you think, because I'm very surprised that the powers that be are letting all these takeovers happen. BCA are getting to the point where they can literally control the whole used car market. They buy millions of cars from We Buy Any Car. They keep the nice cars for themselves, which they can sell on Cinch, and they put all the other stuff into BCA auctions, which they'll now have another 5 of. It feels very much like it's becoming a monopoly, and that shouldn't be allowed, obviously. So I don't know the ins and outs of it, the financials of it, because that's not, I'm just a little car dealer in Ross-on-Wye. But they are my thoughts. I'm glad that Aston Barclay is being saved. I'm glad that it keeps people in jobs, of course. There's a lot of jobs across those 5 Aston Barclay sites, and fingers crossed they're gonna be able to keep on their roles. Now, obviously, if BCA decides to turn those 5 auction sites into just online only, then potentially there might be some job losses, obviously, because they don't need drivers and that sort of thing. But time will tell on that. But I think they're moving on pretty quickly. I think the takeover was finalised at the end of last week, start of this week, and I think they're cracking on with redevelopment of those sites in earnest. So it's just a rinse and repeat for BCA, isn't it? And what's to say if some of the other auction sites start to struggle from different companies, or the BCA mop up a few more? Hopefully that isn't the case. But they are my thoughts only, and nobody likes to see a complete monopoly, I don't think, and it will make life very tricky for people. I'm already contemplating having to now reactivate my BCA account and start buying from BCA. I don't want to do it, but the methods of buying cars in this trade are getting so small that it might be a route we have to go down. But there we go, just a little video for you today, just an update of what is going on in the motoring world outside of our little cocoon here in Ross-on-Wye. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed it. Click the like button if you have, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you soon.